Hello guys, we're currently on the road on our first road trip. Just filled up the car with 25 euros. We're currently 400 kilometers out of our destination. We started our journey in Arlon, Belgium, and now we're gonna go all the way to Touquet Paris-Plage in France. And yeah, I just hope everything goes smooth, and I'll take it very slowly. The car won't even see the 130 because I don't trust it a tiny bit. And it suffices to say that I am kind of stressed because I am taking a 30-plus-year-old car on the road trip just after having rebuilt it most of the way, and I don't trust any of that, so yay! So we're now approximately 100 kilometers deep into our road trip. The car has done it relatively smooth up until now, and I have to say, these Belgian roads, they're just horrible. Even with the relatively comfy e34, every 20 meters or so, it's just a giant pothole, a thing that was fixed in the road, just something that's obstructing your way and makes the car behave like a pig. So it's not really comfortable right now, but I hope once we get onto another autoroute, it becomes better. Well, we're now currently in a traffic jam. Mint. Also, the trip meter and the odometer decided to take a shit, so I currently have no idea how many kilometers we already drove. I just know the car is drinking quite a bit because we're already through like a quarter tank, and we've just passed like 230 kilometers mark, so that's quite a lot, to be honest, for a diesel especially. And the quarter tank is 20 liters. Around the 200 kilometer mark, I've decided to do a quick oil check. Also, we're still currently in Belgium, around 10 kilometers from the border to France, so the trip is already halfway done. Up until now, pretty uneventful, just some jump scares because I thought, oh, there's an ambulance coming. Okay, gotta pay attention. But yeah, sometimes the roads are so bad, I literally think some suspension arm broke because the whole car rattles like crazy. But it's just the roads in Belgium, like, come on, it's crazy. Quick update, we're now 140 kilometers out of our destination, so we'll arrive in an hour or so, 1 hour 30 minutes. I'm driving a lot slower than usual. I think the average speed is just not even at 100 kph. I really drive slow, and yeah, the car feels really smooth. It absorbs the bump completely, not like in the first video where it did absorb the bump, but it was really shaky. Now it just absorbs the bumps and there's no feedback whatsoever. You just glide over everything. It's really smooth. But yeah, finally the roads have cleared up, the weather has cleared up, so right now it's really a lot more enjoyable than like 2 hours ago, where the Belgian roads were horrible. In France they're a bit better than in Belgium, but whatever. It's just the road, you're just gonna drive over it, and when your car is relatively comfy, it's okay. But yeah, the weather plays a big difference, and everything is going smooth. To be fair, I expected more drama, and honestly, I thought I would break down around 300 kilometers in. We're now 300 kilometers in, so nothing has yet happened, and I think the car will get me back home and to my destination relatively safe. Thumbs up. currently at the last kilometer before our hotel, and yeah, the car survived the first 400 kilometers and everything is really smooth. I'm actually thinking we might make it. And there is a retard biker overtaking me because he's retarded. Bikers are just retarded. We're finally here. The car brought me well and sound to the French coast and didn't miss a beat. 471.5 kilometers exactly has this masterpiece covered in this trip so far. Unfortunately, it started making a really loud rattling noise, and I think that's the dual mass flywheel jumping around a bit, making me a bit nervous during the trip back, but honestly, I think the car is gonna make it back without any issues. We just started our trip back to my hometown, and the whole trip went really smooth. There was an event that was like a vintage second-hand market, and there was also supposed to be like some small vintage car show, so I just decided to go. And also I heard that there were apparently parts sellers, and since I'm still looking for parts for my Golf 2, I thought, well, can't hurt to go there. Unfortunately, there was not a single parts seller, so I'm a bit disappointed by that. But whatever, at least the car held up relatively fine. Also, the flywheel started making a lot of noise. Sometimes I feel like it's gotten a lot like higher pitched, and sometimes I feel like it stayed relatively the same and somewhat quiet, but it's definitely making a noise, so we'll probably need to address that in the future if I don't end up selling the car. Furthermore, the car's performance on this trip has really surprised me. It is extraordinarily comfy. And the only thing that I'm not that satisfied with is the actual fuel consumption. We've covered 508 kilometers and we're almost at the 40 mark on the dash. The e34s have an 80-litre tank of gas, so we've already used like 40 litres of diesel, and that leaves me with this consumption. Last time I checked it was around 8.3, which is definitely too high, especially for an old turbo diesel. And yeah, we'll probably need to revisit the pump timing, since this can affect fuel economy as well. And since this is predominantly a cruiser, I'd like for it to have good fuel economy, since it's just good at munching miles away, and that's just what I'm going to do with the car if I end up keeping it, because right now, after all the work I've put in, it handles surprisingly good, and I'm actually not that annoyed by it anymore, so we'll see. So, we're finally on the last 85 kilometers, and yeah, what should I say? Up until now, everything was great, but now I had to go full throttle doing 2 hills to overtake trucks, and yeah, when I stay on full throttle, it like cuts out almost as if it was overboosting, and yeah, I just hope we're gonna make the last 80 kilometers. Gonna drive even slower because I'm gonna drive even slower because even if I said in the last update that I was gonna drive slower, I actually drove a bit faster because I wanted to get home. But yeah, it's a bit weird because I've now had that twice, and I have no boost gauge, so I can't monitor the boost, and that's the only like explanation that I have in my head, but we'll have to see. At least we're not far away from home, so even if something goes wrong, it's not that bad. As you can see, my car brought me home well and sound. I'm really satisfied with the result. I didn't break down, the car still runs normally, the flywheel noise has not gotten worse, and I probably just didn't notice it when I bought the car because the downpipe was open, so I just heard the exhaust gases and not the actual flywheel clacking around. Unfortunately, I've got some errands to run now, so I'll thank you guys for watching and stay tuned.